It's just a hobby. It's just something I do for fun. It's something that I do because I feel like I need to do something more often than I do. It's something that I can do. It's something that I have no physical limitations to doing. Just about spending a little time doing it, and so I do it. And one of the things about doing this show, doing Trent Takes On, is that I have to decide what is worthy of talking about, what I shouldn't say, things like that. How much First Amendment should you flex? And sometimes it's about, honestly, I could record every day. I have rants every day. I have anger every day. This regime does something every day that is worthy of melting down. It's by design. They want it. They want us to melt down. So I try to not give them what they want as often as possible. But today might be one of those days where I just fail. Welcome back to Trent Takes On 2.0. I'm Trent. This is my show. I was going to do it yesterday. I was actually going to sit down and do a show yesterday about the wood anniversary of the January 6th insurrection. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought about how I would start that show and what direction it would take, combined with, keeping up with the news yesterday and what the White House did in releasing a timeline of the events of January 6th, 2021 on their website and blaming the Capitol Police for what happened there, calling it a riot instead of an insurrection. A riot happens on the streets. A riot happens when you can break storefront windows and steal stuff. A riot is about anger in the streets. This was, if this were a riot, if the insurrection were a riot, it would have taken place at the Ellipse, where they were told to get all riled up because their country was being stolen from them. Instead, it was focused for some reason on the Capitol building on the day at the time that they were supposed to certify the results of an election that they disagreed with. And that makes it an insurrection. It's real straight fucking forward. And the insurrection, January 6, 2021, is going to be a day that goes down just like 9/11, 2001 in our history, as everybody who was of age will remember where they were. We were in the middle of lockdown still. The COVID vaccines were just beginning to be produced and accumulated in an effort to get them out. We were still at home. I remember it vividly. My wife and I watching the events of January 6th unfurl in our bedroom. I sat on the edge of the bed. She was working at the time with her work group, working remotely. And everyone, when she told them what was happening, basically all of them just logged off because this was something that everyone needed to witness. And we watched this riotous crowd, of insurrectionists, break through the police barricades, break into the Capitol building. We heard about the shooting of Ashley Babbitt. We saw all this crazy footage. We knew what it was when it happened. And what it should have been was completely disqualifying. The fact that Republican senators didn't have enough guts, we'll call it guts, balls, patriotism, enough integrity, enough resolution to do their duty. This all could have been avoided. This second term of retribution and pain and chaos and violence could have all been avoided. But it wasn't. And January 6th, 2021 was the warning that went unheeded. And I was going to do a show where I talked about that, where I talked about the Wood anniversary and how funny I think it is that the 5th anniversary of their wedding anniversary, the little nicknames, like the first anniversary is the paper anniversary, and 5th is Wood, and then there comes Crystal, and then China, and, you know, like the 25th anniversary is your sterling silver anniversary, and if you make it to 50, that's gold, and if you know, the Wood anniversary. But I didn't do that show because I thought it would be downplaying the importance of January 6th and the 5-year anniversary, and now the first anniversary of it with this regime in power. Lawless, violent, corrupt, abusive. I use those words all the time when referring to these people because that's who they are. That's who they are. They tell you who they are. They celebrate it. They celebrate their corruption. They celebrate their abuse of power. They celebrate the violence that they cause. They celebrate the chaos that they create. They celebrate it because they're proud of it. They're proud of it. They think that they got elected this time in a very, very narrow election, and they think that that's the mandate to do whatever they want forever. Yesterday, Donald Trump literally talked about suspending the 2026 midterm elections. And all of that is enough to make your blood boil, to make you lose it, to make you throw, just, oh my God, I want to throw things. I want to break stuff. I want to set a fire for some reason because, I don't know, I just feel like that's a way for me to express how angry I am. But you can't do most of those things. I think it's okay if you want to break a few things, make sure it's your own stuff because you don't want to break other people's, but you also don't want to break anything that you don't want to have broken. So try to contain it a little bit because no matter how much stuff we break, it's not going to make things better in the long term. It may make you feel better in the short term. Honestly, it might. Some people like to work out really hard, like to go for a run. Some people like to punch the heavy bag or work out in some way or, do something physically. And that's how they get that steam out. And that's okay. That's okay. Some people just like to rage, like you just rant. Like me, I like to rant. I rant. I just talk. I talk about all the things that piss me off. And sometimes I put them in a podcast and you guys listen to it. And I appreciate you for that. Again, this is the year of appreciation. This is the year of thankfulness. And I am thankful for the good things in my life and being able to share them with people. I'm thankful that there are people who think enough of me to listen. I appreciate you. You give me more courage. You give me more strength. But I didn't do that show, even though I kind of just did the 8-minute version of it. And then this morning, something happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Something that has been coming for however long that the regime's been in charge, 11 months. It's been coming, and we've known it. You can feel it. You know it's coming. That an ICE agent was going to open fire on a civilian and murder them. And that happened on the streets of Minneapolis, Minnesota this morning. And in what should come as no surprise to anyone, there's plenty of video. And I want to tell you right now, if you search it out, it is very disturbing. It is very, very hard to watch, knowing that someone lost their life immediately. There's video of it, multiple angles, because these ICE actions, or whatever they refer to them, their ridiculous, nonsensical bullshit version of enforcement of immigration law, must videotape information, must share with the world information. It is a violation of people's human rights. It is a violation of their constitutional rights. And today they tried to stop a U.S. citizen, a woman. They went to yank her out of her car, and when a bunch of guys with guns and masks come at you and you're in your car and they want to yank you out of it, and they don't identify themselves, they just say, get out of your car, and they come for you. What do? She put it in drive, and she tried to drive away, and one of these officers pulled out his gun and from about 8 feet away shot her in the head. He fired several shots. I don't know how many exactly, but he killed her right there in the moment. And it's on tape. So not only is there tape, the first response from the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, and even their spokesperson, whose name eludes me, but she's fucking awful. She's awful too. Are claiming that this was an act of self-defense and that this agent saved both his life and the lives of others. There's video of it, lady. It's called a murder. Way back in 2020, also in Minnesota, there was a police killing of a black man named George Floyd. And the white cop who did it, Derek Chauvin, was convicted of murder. And the other cops who stood around and watched were also all convicted of abetting. There was video of it. People screaming, let him up, let him up, as they suffocated him against the ground, knee to his neck. And in the ensuing weeks, we had protests from coast to coast. Protests against police violence. Black Lives Matter protests. Protests about power. How easy it is to abuse and how many people you hurt when you abuse it. People with power rarely learn lessons. People with power think that they're above learning lessons. People that have power believe that they're above being held accountable in many situations. And this regime in particular has handed down an edict that if you follow the rules of the regime, follow the word of the Mad King, regardless of how illegal that word is, those orders are, you will be protected by the king and his servants. Corruption. Abuse of power. Everything that we have spent the last 250 years as a nation attempting to distill out of our system. We are flawed. We are broken at times. This will result in more protests, heavier protests. There's a frog in my throat because I'm on the verge of tears as I shake in anger and fear for what's to come. This regime has learned nothing from the past except how to abuse power. The conservatives, the Republicans in Congress who could do something to stem the tide have abdicated their duty because they are so scared. Snowflakes indeed. Standing up to the Mad King might be dangerous, but it's also our duty. I got to thinking about it. Of course, this was going to happen. I've always known this was going to happen. We all have. If you've been paying even a modicum of attention, you know that this was going to happen. Someone was going to go too far. And more people will go too far. And it will be easier to go too far going forward. And more unqualified agents will discharge weapons that they should never be allowed to carry at civilians. Citizens, immigrants, it doesn't matter. Is this worthy of lethal force? No. God, no. Very little information has been released about this woman who has been murdered. But like everyone, chances are she has a family. And judging by the stickers on the back of her SUV, it was a large family. Probably a mom. People who listen to this show, people who listen to shows like this, people who have true belief in the possibility of a real multicultural, multiracial democracy, a society in which we all can prosper, a society in which we can all strive ahead, in a society in which none of us should feel fear, that we should have freedoms. People that listen to this show and shows like it are going to stand up. And I ask all of you who do so to please be safe. Stand up against this regime and fight them with love and acceptance. A human is a human is a human. I don't understand the hatred that these people have in their hearts for others. I never really had it myself. I didn't get it. For me, there were the people that I loved and then just other people. And I didn't really care one way or another. I didn't have a list of people that I hated. I still don't. I certainly don't hate people for random ass reasons like not being like me. We're capable of so much. Should we choose to use that capability? We need to stand up for our freedoms. We need to stand up for each other. Because if we lose those freedoms, is it worth it anymore? Is it worth it anymore? How do you raise a family in this? How do you do better than your parents? I only know that I have to try, because that's the least I can do. I suppose I could do less. I could do nothing. But even if that was the choice, even if the choice was to do something positive or do nothing, that's okay. But there are way too many people who have chosen a third path, which is to be destructive, to do the negative, to follow the orders of a mad king who never deserved to hold that office. He was elected like a circus sideshow. And when you elect a clown, you get a circus. And that's what's happened. The only difference is this time around the clown is like Pennywise or the Terrifier, whatever his name is. Alfred? I don't even know. I don't watch horror movies anymore, but I know that there's a scary-ass clown franchise right now. And I believe his name starts with an A. I fight back against despair with humor, logic, and reason. And I keep saying that eventually we're going to hit the point where people are going to break away and just go, this is not what we want. This is not what we want. We don't want war in Venezuela. We don't want war with Greenland, which turns into war against Europe, which turns into World War III. I just, there are days when I don't know what I should cover, when I should cover it, when I should talk, when I should stay silent, when I should rant, when I should try and be fatherly and kind and calm. This is my journey. And you're all kind enough to go on it with me. And it's very, very humbling. We are trying to be good people, largely. And if you're not trying to be a good person, you should really ask yourself why. And if you know somebody who is actively trying to not be a good person, you should ask them why. Because at least we should know where everybody stands. These are dark times. That is a phrase that I've used way too many times over the last year. This version of Donald Trump is far worse than I thought it would be. Because I honestly believe that there would be just enough pushback to keep him from tearing it all apart. But the pushback has been meager at best. The best pushback we've seen is from just ordinary people like you. So, we'll see what happens as we move forward. But I urge all of you to be safe and to not be scared, to be brave. To be courageous, to have courage, to be brave is not to be fearless. Courage is what you do when you know You're scared. But you have to do the right thing anyway. Be careful. Be careful. Be good humans. I'll be back soon. I promise. Until then, be safe. Love you.